Never know, because I'm okay. There we go.
There we are.
Yay.
That one time we double tapped it. It's like I don't know if it cancels out.
All right, everyone, we are live because guess what? It's Fear Street Halloween.
We're kicking it off with Vampires versus the Bronx with our friends from Shake It Not Scared.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Should we do a quick little what are we wearing? Who's it by?
Yeah. Well, we couldn't figure out how to get mine on my head. I do have the holes for it, but do you have yours?
I left it somewhere because I'm not a professional. But
well,
we're both Lokis.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it.
Our cat and dog are also Lokis, so we just don't have them set up either.
I love it.
Love it.
Marvel should be jealous. No, my costume is sponsored by the Marriott of Utah. Evil Dies Tonight.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm gonna sneak her in like Jaws every once in a while.
Yeah, I was thinking about dressing up today, but then I was like, I've got to wash that blue out of my hair one more time. I'm gonna scream. So you go to my Instagram and see what I dressed up as the last 2 times. So, but yeah, welcome back, Eric and Vivi. We're so happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to be here on Halloween.
Yes.
Best day of the year.
Right.
So what? Anything new going on with Shaken Not Scared? Any new fun drinks you guys have made?
Yeah, we actually released a surprise episode today because we don't usually upload on Sundays, but we posted our review of Halloween 2. That is up. And then this week we are doing a special Day of the Dead episode. It's going to be kind of more informative. If you guys want to learn about that, that should be out Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, we're probably going to release it on the actual Day of the Dead, which is the 2nd of November. So you'll be able to learn a little more about what that day really means to us, Hispanics, and other people who celebrate it. And we're also going to talk about the Island of the Dolls, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so fun.
Spooky stuff.
No, y'all stay busy over there.
Yeah, we love an educational moment. So remind the listeners where they can find the pod on socials and everything else.
Yeah, we are Shaken Not Scared Pod pretty much on everything except Twitter. Twitter Shaken Scared Pod. And we are on all your podcasting streaming sites. Just look Shaken Not Scared Pod up.
Yep. Yeah, our email too, if you want to contact us, is shakennotScaredPod@gmail.com. So
Yes.
yeah, looking forward to it. We want all the feedback.
Yeah, give us cocktail recipes.
Love it.
Y'all have a fast turnaround because whenever I'm like, what's a good drink for this movie? You're like, give me like 2 hours. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
We'll figure it out.
We've been trying to get better at it. We have books now, so we're
We're learning here.
Yeah, be pros.
We're growing. I love it. All right. Well, let's start talking about Vampires versus the Bronx because this was a fun ride.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I really loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eric, Gibby, what do you want to go with your first thoughts?
Yeah, this movie was super fun. If you have not seen it, go watch it. Came out in 2020, and I just heard about it recently. I think it needs way more hype than it has. It was just a good horror comedy.
Yeah, I went into it thinking that it would be just your typical Netflix horror, right, and just cheesy. But no, it was really cool. I loved all the themes, and we'll probably get into it. But a lot of the themes were awesome and almost like struck a nerve because it was it's stuff that we saw growing up that definitely was interesting to see, but also at the same time enjoy in like a horror and funny way.
Yeah.
No, I also never heard about it until I was just on Netflix last year because I was like, I wanted something new. And I was like, what is this? And it was a good time and nobody talks about it. Nobody's watched it. And I'm like, how? We all have Netflix. We all have Netflix. Like they come with TVs now. What?
Yeah, Netflix is like PR for films is really odd because like they really push like 5 movies and then all these other movies they have on their streaming services they just don't tell you that it's there. But so I'm like, I don't know.
Never push the good stuff because I saw Autopsy of Jane Doe over there last year for the first time.
Yes.
And she's not there anymore, but they never were like, guess what we got? The creepiest movie you'll ever see. They were just like, oh no.
I think it's available on Shudder now if people still want to check it out.
No, it's still creepy. I watched it with some friends recently, and I was like, no, why did we do this?
Yeah, okay, let's start because I think one of the strongest things about this film is the cast. Because, as we've been talking through the Chucky series, Sharai and I really appraised it for age-appropriate casting, and this one really got that right. This movie got that right as well.
Yeah, no. First off, I don't even like kids, but the kids were having fun, and so I was having fun, and they were like pulling it off. But also, we randomly have Method Man playing a priest. I was like, oh my god!
I knew he looked
old.
familiar. Yeah, I just couldn't put a name to it. So thanks for reminding me.
I love the moment where he says, I love the moment where he said, "Oh, they stole my sprites, little shit."
Yeah, he was a very involved priest.
Yeah. No, he's like, I'm gonna raise these kids right.
Yeah.
But also not really, because he kicked out one of the kids from school.
Yeah, no, I mean, the priest is Method Man, so like,
What
what are we
chaos
expecting?
in there.
I also just love when Chris Red does genre because like he's so funny and weird. It just always works out, whether it's this or Scare Me or what have you. And I just want him to do more of that. Because like he doesn't get enough time on SNL anyways. So like let's just
Right. Yeah, their bits were funny. Him and the other guy, I didn't see the actor's name, but it was funny that this movie would point out the awkwardness that you get from other movies that take themselves too seriously, where something very dramatic is said, and you're like, all right, I guess, like whatever that means.
I was really shocked that they got Zoe Saldana to be in the first like 2 seconds of this movie.
Yeah, they did.
I never saw her again, and I was like, what?
Her name is even in the opening credits. I thought maybe she was going to make a return as a vampire.
Right,
Yeah.
Same, yeah.
I feel like she's kind of the Drew Barrymore of this. You know how like Scream was like, guess who's here? Guess who's not here?
Hey. Yeah, I was just like, what? But anyway, I love Zoe Saldana, so I just wish she was in more.
Yeah, I thought it was also probably just a nod to her other film that she had done a couple years back, Colombiana. I don't know if you remember that, but she plays a Colombian assassin. Yeah,
Ooh,
so
nice.
Yeah, I almost forgot she speaks Spanish. Yeah,
You do forget because she's in a lot of like mainstream popular, American films, but no, she speaks Spanish.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed was that Sarah Gadon. I don't know if you guys have seen Dracula Untold, that horrible movie from a few years back. It's about Vlad the Impaler, and it's like the origin story of Dracula. But Sarah Gadon, who plays the main villain in this film, was Mirena in that movie, and she gets killed obviously to make Dracula powerful, and she gets kind of the short end of that stick. So I thought it was cool to see her as a villain in this and come back and be a vampire.
She makes a very convincing vampire.
Yeah.
I need to watch those now because I always have like things I've missed. I'm like, how did I miss this?
Yeah, I thought she was really a really strong villain that you don't like. I always didn't trust her for the moment we met her, but because I mean, like, what white woman is gonna walk into the Bronx and be like, "Oh, your neighbor, look at me," But but I didn't expect her to be like the leader of the vampire. You know what I mean?
She's the commander, which is kind of
Yeah.
badass. Because
Yeah.
you see commanders, it's always some dude who's like, oh, I'm grizzled and I'm old. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm here talking about like maple scones, which is a lie.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna pull a card like maybe she was the woke young vampire who was actually gonna help the kids.
I thought
No.
You know?
No,
Not the
I
case.
knew from the beginning not to trust her. Like, I was like, she's
Much like in real life.
Right.
When your town is getting gentrified, you shouldn't really trust anybody.
I love how they literally tell her, "You're lost, right? Like, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, and then one of the little boys is like, she's gonna call the cops. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call the cops. She's gonna call the cops.
Yeah, that's like someone who's too forward with trying to sell you drugs. You're probably somebody who's a cop. Yeah.
It's like we can't trust her. I just really love how they took vampires and like twisted it into gentrification.
Oh yeah.
In
Yeah.
general, it's such a clear message and it's so funny, and I'm surprised it wasn't done before. Like,
It's done so well too in this film, and it's funny because it's not a horror thing you see like at all. Like you see themes of grief and things like that. Like I think part of what makes this so great, like being a person of color, is like this is scary to us, And we don't see that on film, and now we have a film with it.
Yeah, we literally will drive around sometimes at our, we don't live in our old neighborhood anymore, but we'll drive past to visit family and see Starbucks is there, and we're like, oh crap, what's happening?
Know what this means.
And to other people who are outside, I guess it could look like a shithole, right? Where you go to the suburbs and it's like, oh, everything's nice, and then you go back to where we're from, and people are like, oh, well, why do you want to go back? And it's like, no, there's a charm to that, which we see in this film, right? Where it's like there's a sense of community. Some places more than others. I think that it's an over exaggerated sense of community in this, because I don't think I ever felt that growing up. But it's the thing that you see down there, that it's the people that make that place, not what it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. I remember like it was in Chicago. Like people would always be like, "Oh no, that neighborhood's getting a Whole Foods."
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like, rent's gone up, people are moving out, and
Well, I think the issue is, the biggest issue is that it's not really helping anyone. You're just moving poverty around a little bit. Like you're not actually. I think some people think of gentrification as helping the community, but it's not helping anyone.
No.
You're just making it look,
just pushing people out of their homes.
Yeah, and it's seeing this, right, where the people who are benefiting from it are getting money up front, and they're like, oh man, I really need to get out of the hole that I'm in with debt and whatever, and so this is a huge help up front, but they end up getting screwed in the end. I think here in Chicago, there's always talk about how every so many decades people get pushed into the city, then get pushed out, then get pushed in, and it's just like this never-ending cycle. But the people who get the shorter end of that stick still just end up in the same part right before.
Yeah. No, and they never actually get what the property's worth anyways, because they know what a lot of money looks like to people on that side of the poverty line. And so they're like, here's pennies for dollars, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
And then we have this whole like, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of saying that. It's just like, that doesn't work, people.
No. Yeah. The other thing that I thought was interesting on the gentrification piece is that there's a lot of pressure that's put on people to do better and be better in the community. One thing we see, like I mentioned earlier, the priest says that, or the kids say that the priest kicked the kid out of school because of some mix-up in biology. And I think we see this a lot in those communities too, where instead of helping each other out, there's a lot of pressure on being good and not going down the wrong path, and you're punished for it. It's very strict, where it's almost like you're not helping anybody by being so strict, because kicking them out of school, what's that going to do for them?
That is a weird move.
Yeah. Like again, it's a weird situation to be in, but also like it helps nobody, and so you think you'd be like, what can we do to assist this kid? Because clearly this kid is in danger. This kid is in help. But they don't. Instead, they're like, Lil Mayor's got it together. Why can't you just be like, Lil Mayor? And it's like, Lil Mayor's a different set of circumstances.
Well, and they don't really help Lil Mayor either, because the whole time no one believes in him. No one, at least out of the adults, everyone just kind of patronizes him and oh well, or either that or the exact opposite, and tells them there's no hope. Why do you even care? There's no, so the whole time I'm like, both of them are kind of screwed in different ways, because no one in the community is really listening to them.
Which is odd, I guess, if you think back, because everyone knows him and seems to really like him. So when he's suddenly crying wolf, it's odd that they wouldn't trust him right away. It doesn't help that his phone's showing empty coffins. But we were like,
that was great.
We were like, still, the fact that this building has coffins is
pretty weird.
It's a conversation.
Also, how do you buy a courthouse? Like, that's questionable to begin. Like, isn't that a government-owned building? Isn't that like municipality? I don't understand. I want the courthouse. I need the courthouse.
That's unchecked. It gets you in anywhere. It's like an Amex Black Card. That's ours now.
I would like to buy the White House, please. Could I buy the White House?
I'm gonna fill it with coffins.
Yeah, it's the coffins piece that is what helped them out. They're like, oh, we're all vampires here.
Yeah.
We suck the blood of the people who are under us. It's cool.
It's fine.
I really, really love that they started their research by going back to the bodega and watching Blade.
We love that so much.
Right? First off, like Blade is underrated. It's like the first like real Marvel movie, and we're like, no. It started with Iron Man. It's like, no. also it's a black vampire that's not Blackula and it's not Eddie Murphy in A Vampire in Brooklyn. And I just think that it's a better situation that we don't talk about enough. And so I'm happy that this writer was like, hey, you know what we're gonna do? Not to this.
Yeah. If anything, I wanted to watch Blade right after this movie.
All three of them.
I just rewatched the first one for the first time as an adult, maybe, like a couple weeks ago, and it still holds up. What?
Okay, we might do that after this.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
and I love that they keep using the term that Blade uses for the vampires. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, also, yeah, I love the moment when the mom, when Little Mayor's mom comes up and she's like, "You let them watch Blade, didn't you?" I bought it. And the person says no, and she's like,
it's on their story. I was like, oh my god.
Little Mayor's mom was always in his shit, and it just gave me so much joy. But also, I was cringing for him.
Yeah.
I love that though, because we watch these horror movies and we see these teenagers being crazy. I'm like, my parents would have killed me. Where are your parents? In this movie, the parents are doing exactly what real parents would do. Super involved.
Even when Tony joins in to kind of help Lil Mayor, and he's like, hey, you know what? This is on me, and stepping in. That's something that would totally happen. He's like, you know what? Let's just have me be the one who gets the chanclazo, the sandal to the face instead of you.
Oh yeah! Oh, when the mom like yells out the window, "You need to clean your room and your nasty underwear." He's like, "Oh, mom."
Like I love when horror movies let kids actually be kids again.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of them forget. Like I just ripped into Better Watch Out because those kids are like little 30-year-olds with like that jokes. And I was like, "What is this? What?"
That is super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the things that they said after Little Mayor says they're vampires, they're in, they get, no one believes them. Other parents are like, you're going to church.
Oh,
yeah. Right. I was like, well, that is accurate. Also, kind of toxic, mom and dad. Like, why don't we go see a therapist instead? That might be more helpful.
The same church that kicked one of the kids out for being rowdy in biology.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, like it's doing a lot, that church. It's doing a lot. I don't know if letting Method Man be the head priest was the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made that choice, and then they had to go with it, But then I love the boys were like, okay, now we can use this to our advantage. We're gonna steal holy water.
Oh my God.
My favorite thing was the Eucharist tucked in his mouth that he put in his pocket for later.
Yeah, all those jokes are so good.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a callback to one of our episodes, but I, growing up, always thought that holy water was a special kind of water that was like oily. I always thought it was oily. And growing up, I'm realizing it's because everyone was dipping all their oily fingers into it.
What makes it holy?
All that oil.
Yeah.
My mom would carry. She had a water bottle in the house that was blessed water too, and I was like, if you drink that, you like wash away your sins. And it's like that's like super special bottled water that you can only drink when you really feel like you've been sinning.
Well, we were talking about how it's so funny that these Latino kids are so ready for vampires because their mom's got the cross on the wall. They got the garlic adobo, like that killed me, where he just threw the spices at her. It's like you're literally throwing spices at a white woman. That's hilarious.
If only that worked in real life,
Oh man, yeah, it made me realize how ready we would be.
Yeah.
I forgot her name. Was it? Oh my God, she wasn't Rita. She was the other girl who ended up joining them. But she was because they were like, oh yeah, you won't believe us, it's vampires. And she was like, I'm Haitian. My grandma's been prepping.
That's Rita.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
she was so ready to believe them.
Yeah.
She was ready. She was like, I don't know what's going on, but I know I'm ready.
Oh, I love the moment at the end where he like goes in for the kids. She's like, oh wait, that's
not like that. Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
That trope is getting tackled so much in more recent films where, you see it so much now that it's almost becoming like too common now to see that the hero doesn't get the kiss because they're just all like, yeah, that's not what's supposed to happen. We're just kicking ass together. Not
Doesn't mean it's
hands.
romantic.
Yeah, the girl don't need no man. Read it on the
I love that because like back in the olden days, like the 70s and 80s, like Harrison Ford would just grab a woman and just like kiss her, and I'm just like, there was no conversation. Y'all were just in space.
There was
You
no
were like,
chemistry.
right? It's like she's talking too much, and I'm Harrison Ford, and it's like, who's writing this?
I did think it was a strange choice though that you said her name was Rita. That they didn't let her be in the kill right before the group kill. They still were like, yeah, she knows how to fight them, but then we're gonna have her go ask for help instead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas she's much more useful than most of the
Yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, and well, I mean, I think ultimately that's because, like, in the beginning of the film, you have the three, and then she's kind of added on 2/3 of the way through. I do kind of wish that she had been with that foursome had been the group that we followed from the beginning, just to kind of get some femme energy in there. But that's just a little complaint.
Yeah, you take what you get, I guess, with the female villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? We went big on one end, so like we're good.
Too much. Too many women.
Right? Now we got the moms yelling at them. We got the grandmother snatching them out of the police car. We're gonna send Rita to get help. What?
And she's older than all of them too, which I think is funny too.
She's also a scene stealer, so that might be another part of the issue.
Could be
because
why.
when she was there, it was about her. What?
Oh yeah.
So one of a really interesting kind of fact I found online about this film, the moving company or real estate company, Murnau, did I say it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's named after the director of Nosferatu.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We were talking
that's
about
why
that.
it's that text too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looked familiar, and I was like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
I was like, this company's logo is literally Vlad the Impaler. No one questioning this.
No.
I'd be like, that's weird.
Right.
They were like, he wants to buy the apartment. Don't ask questions. What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the mom even says at one point, she's like, if his money's good, I'm going to hear him out. Like, it don't matter, really.
We do not ask questions.
No, take the money and worry about it later. One of the other things this movie does for me is the commentary on the missing Black and brown people, and nobody ever looks into that. It's immediately a cold case, and I'm like, it's been an hour. But Vivian put it best when they wouldn't let her into the apartment, and she was just like, it's easier to live somewhere where no one cares when people disappear. And I just love that this movie is having fun, but also having this like important conversations that we don't see a lot of in any sort of context in the media. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. If you listen to a lot of true crime, it's like never really cases about Black and brown people, and it's that whole notion of the less dead, right? A killer is going to seek out people in these communities, people who live high risk lifestyles, because they know people won't investigate them. And this movie does such a great job of walking that fine line of this is funny, but also this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? No, it kind of reminded me, I want to say it was Chris Rock, but again, I was a kid, and so I'm not 100% sure if I had the right comedian. But I want to say it was Chris Rock had a whole bit about how Black people don't get kidnapped because you can't ask for ransom for us. And it reminded me of that. Because he'd be like, you're asking for how much? Oh, no, I'm dead. What?
One thing that I liked further too on including Black and brown people and just minorities in general that are mixed was that often I feel Hollywood focuses on just one and it's like these people exist alone and there's no others. And this was cool to watch because it showed what these communities actually look like. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a melting pot.
Yeah, we can coexist. We don't hate each other.
Yeah.
This movie, if anything, implies we can live harmoniously.
No, which I love to see that because again, we never get that. It's always like, well, we're gonna have our Black show, so we're gonna cast the Black people, but nobody else. And I that frustrates me because I'm always just but no, my friend group looks like this, and they're like, well, we have the people you say you get to be Black, so that's all that matters. The rest can be white or Black. And I'm like, no, That's not what
That's not how the world works.
Right.
And so you
Yeah.
have like a blonde girl who's like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with my last name being Vasquez. And I'm like, you shouldn't.
Yeah. So I have a complaint about Netflix and really about most streaming services. In English speaking, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this with their subtitles. In any English speaking film, if anyone else speaks Spanish or any other language, it says speaking in Spanish.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you not give me a subtitle for that? Like, you don't have to translate it. Just even at least put the Spanish on the screen. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. We have the worst problem with that too, because our furnace, the air gets sucked in like right by where our speaker is. So sometimes we really need the subtitles, even in
Right.
Spanish. And I hate that. It's like sneezes in Spanish too.
You're like, cool.
You know?
and it's not just Netflix. I just noticed it on this one because there's a lot of Spanish in there, but like other places do it too.
Yeah, no, Showtime definitely does it. I was watching a show with my friend Rachel, who does speak Spanish, and like they had a whole dinner scene, and Rachel was just like, "Here's what's being said," and I was like, "Thank you." I wasn't gonna ask, but I was like, I feel like she just called her a bitch, but I can't prove this. I'm going off of acting choices.
Right? Yeah, you don't even have to translate. Like I understand if you can't translate all the Spanish or whatever, but like at least put the Spanish on the screen or put something on the screen that's not just like speaking in Spanish.
Yeah, and it doesn't just happen with Spanish. I've noticed it just with any language.
Any
Right.
language that's not English. I'm like, I want to know what they said.
Right.
And I know Netflix has the money to hire someone to translate.
Right?
I think what's worse is that sometimes the film folks who produce it will actually include, subtitles in their own production, and then there's the subtitles on top of those subtitles, and they're completely different sometimes.
And you're like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
They're just battling. No, when we were like doing our month of like international movies, like we were like definitely just like listening to the movie, watching the subtitles and the closed captions. All of a sudden, it'd be like speaking different language. I'm like, but if you're translating the one, you can't translate the other. You're just like, no. We're only doing the one tonight.
We only have one person of color in the back. We can't.
We can.
We're not gonna give them overtime to like find out what that sentence is. And they are part-time, being paid in stipends. So I think I'm just like a fan of this movie just because like we get to see the Black and brown people fighting vampires, which is not something we typically get. Because like I loved Buffy, but not good for brown people. Lost Boys, near perfect. No brown people to be seen.
Did you like that Lost Boys reference?
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is the closest we're ever gonna get to the Lost Boys, which I'm fine with. This is a good time, but also it's like the Lost Boys could have done better. Like, let's just be honest. It was the 80s. Like, it wasn't like we don't know where brown people are. It's like, no, you're not auditioning them. You're not calling them seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing Black and brown people killed vampires was great. I love that.
Yeah, because usually it's just that we're the comedic relief
Truly.
or the joke. But again, in this one, you can joke around and still kick a vampire's ass, which I think is good.
Yeah, I hate that movies sometimes will pretend that the cast doesn't know what they're fighting. And like it's never existed before, so it was cool to see not only like them kicking ass, but they knew exactly how to do it. Yeah.
They were like, let's get onto the Google, let's put on Blade, and let's go fix this.
It was so super funny to me that the mom automatically knew it was like no other vampire movie. She knew it was Blade. Nothing else Blade.
You have to do it, right? Because we only have a handful of heroes that we can look up to that look like us, right? Like we walked out of I forgot what movie it was, but I was like, man, we don't have like a Mexican super badass superhero. I wish we had somebody like that. I mean, there's people who will say like, if it's Chapulín Colorado, but he's like a complete like comedy, right? And there's nobody who I could say, oh yeah, I really look up to that Mexican superhero growing up. There's some that you can say. I think there's like Sunspot in the X-Men, but he's like such a side character that
we're never the main character.
Yeah.
No. Don't even get me started on the X-Men, how they treat anybody of color. They're just like, everybody gets one. It's a magical unicorn. They'll never be a lead. They'll never get their own movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Like they're mutants, but they could not be people of color? Like, what?
Listen, you can make up mutants, but you can't see them being person of color. I went to this, like, I forgot, I think it was a pop culture conference, and this woman got up there and she was like, showed us the clip of, like, I think it was like X-Men Apocalypse, where like it comes on and like all of the brown people were just dying, even though they're all X-Men. And then you get to like the white people who are hiding in the back and they time travel. And she's like,
Oh yeah.
did you notice how everybody brown and X-Men just bit it in the first 5 minutes of the movie? And then traveled back in time where you knew you would never see them again? Like,
We tried.
yeah. It's like we only had Halle Berry for 2 days, so we had to kill her.
Yeah, so seeing Blade in there was cool. You know, one minority or the other. You know, you still kind of look up to these, and I think people forget that Blade is Marvel. And you know, if you watch the old '90s Spider-Man show, Blade came out a lot in that show. Yeah, he was a really cool character.
I still think he's a cool character.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wishing that they would have given him more to do back when Wesley Snipes could do it, because I mean, Grandpa Wesley is probably done with that phase of his life.
Yeah.
I've heard that he's talking to Marvel about something, and it might be like the remake that they're working on. Maybe he's gonna make like a guest appearance or something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
kind of cool.
I would love that, because he's kind of the Tony Todd for that trio. You know,
Actually,
with it.
Yeah, I think he said he would be down to come back as Blade. So
I would definitely watch him. So.
Yeah.
I would not put it past Grandpa Wesley to just be hiding for the last couple years, just like practicing and training.
He's been saving the day behind the scenes.
Right? He's like, now that I'm done my Eddie Murphy movies, I have to get back in shape for Blade. I'll reemerge in 5 years.
With like a 24-pack and like
exactly
right?
The way Marvel does.
You know what? Let's get a sequel to this and then have him come out in it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Cool.
I would love that. That's the only thing missing from this movie, other than it not being long enough, because I was having fun. Is what's the next appearance.
Yeah, I will say the end felt like the very, very end, the third act. I thought they could have added a little more to that. Like they could have went further with that third act than they did, just in my opinion. Because like when she said, you know, the Bronx is some shithole, whatever. I forgot what else she said about it.
Yeah.
And they all, that man said, "What'd you say about the Bronx?" I could have been more chaos in that moment. Like after that.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the whole angry mob to attack her, but they were attacking her one by one, as is the law of horror movies, I guess.
No one had the iron. That's why I love it.
It was very Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills. And I'm like, wouldn't we all run at her? Like, she's a vampire commander. I'm not going to go at her by myself. I'm going to take some friends.
Yeah.
So her being a commander, does it imply that she's one of others? Because the end sort of implies when
she was trying to revive her maker or something.
The character who has the live chat going on, she's like, you know, the next time that you decide to come mess with us, you know, we'll be here. It almost implies that there's something else still going on, right? Did you guys get the same thing?
Yeah.
It felt
hope
like
they're making room for a part 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I love that character whose name I do not know. I don't even know if she got like an actual name, but I just love her. It's such a cool way of handling like the narration, because usually, to be like, it's gonna be a kid who wants Instagram likes. Of course,
Gloria. That's her name, Gloria.
Gloria. Okay, yeah.
Gloria.
She was fun.
Was her channel GGTV? Is that what
something
it was?
like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. It's just everybody's business. Just like kids getting yelled at by their moms.
But I think that's another way that this film lets these kids be kids. Like that's what kids are doing now.
Right.
Everything's for the gram. Everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like shows and movies try to make it over the top and say like we know what the kids are doing now. I think this one did it good enough. Yeah. Oh, who are we though? We're millennials.
Yeah, we're a little older than kids. But...
yeah, the kids are doing all of this stuff. We get it.
What are those children doing nowadays? Back in the good old days.
I forgot what I was. No, it was Chucky. I was watching Chucky, and I was like, "Oh, now I'm old. The youths are jogging now, and they're taking like flashlights to their parties to like dance with flashlights." I'm like, "We didn't do that in my day." What?
In my day, we had Pokemon cards and the X-Men cartoon. Like,
And that was if you were one of the cool kids, you weren't even talking about it because you were made fun of. So.
Right.
Right.
I was never one of those.
Yeah, neither was I. Yeah, if I like
Why
that,
we
it was
all
in
started
secret.
podcasts,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
We're here to tell those people that you're not cool anymore.
That's why. Yeah, that's why we watch horror, because all those cool people are the ones that die first. Bye.
Exactly.
Listen.
Do we have any more notes before we get to hot takes?
Oh, I'm ready for the hot takes.
I don't know if mines are that controversial.
I have a feeling none of ours are going to be super controversial because we all like this movie.
Which, this is a rarity. I'm going to collect all the movies where everybody enjoyed it, which is very few.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a list.
Right? Normally, it's like, this was shit. And it's like, I loved it. And it's like a 40-minute conversation. And so I'm going to pull like all 4 movies where it was across the board likes.
I think
Nice.
4 may be generous. There may be all right. Well, Eric, maybe one of y'all want to go first with your hot take?
My hot take is that this is great. I'm really mad more people haven't seen it. I'm mad that it doesn't have more hype. There's so many great things about it. I love the classic kind of vampire look, Buffy style vampires. I love that it's not even really about the vampires. It still talks about the important things while still being hilarious. So I don't know, it's great. I recommend this to everyone. I'm going to tell everyone to watch this now.
Yeah, I wonder if they're waiting on a sequel to see how much like love it actually gets.
I would definitely watch the sequel.
I would watch all the sequels. Yeah, no, because like to your point, Vivi, it's like whenever they do start talking about gentrification, they center it on the white people, and it's like, no, you can't. Like it's part of the reason I hate like older like Broadway shows. It's because they're all like Oklahoma, we're gonna fight like the indigenous people, but you'll never see them. We talk about them in this villainous way, like monsters, but we can't hire any of them to be in the show. And so I love that this is like, no, here's how gentrification is impacting the people who live in this community, as opposed to we're gentrifiers moving in, yay.
Yeah. Let's get rid of the trope that says that the victor is the one who tells the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. My hot take is that going along with everybody loving it, I'd love to see sequels, but I want to see the sequels somewhere that's not New York. I feel like I'm tired of New York because we see New York all the time, and I'm always telling Vivi like, why is there never but why is there never anything cool in Chicago or some of these other places that we know definitely have things going on? So maybe the sequels could be something like it's just a series of these where right now we have vampires versus the Bronx. Maybe next we have werewolves versus the South Side of Chicago. Let's just start hitting some more underserved communities. You know?
I would open my wallet to start that Kickstarter tonight if anybody wants to like get on werewolves versus the South Side.
That would be fun.
Yeah, let's get more.
Yeah, no, I think that would be fun, especially because like a lot of us are in these poorer places. Like I grew up in Missouri. Nobody's making movies about Missouri, and it's right for horror. It's so right for it.
What would that one be? The Swamp Thing versus Kansas City, Kansas?
It would just be Kansas City versus Kansas City.
Oh, no.
Pick a mayor and just start.
Oh, that would be funny.
What about you guys? What are your hot takes?
So my hot take is I want more, and I don't care if it is a comic or a video game or whatever. I just feel like there's a lot to play with in this world, and it's just exciting to see like kids of color get to like actually do the cool shit that we never got to see them do when we were kids. Because how often did we sit there going, Buffy's cool, Kendra's dead.
Like in one episode.
No, like Mr. Trick had like 4 episodes and he was like one of the main villains of his season. And I was like, that's weird because like all the other big bads get screen time.
The whole season.
Right? Even Dark Willow had 5 episodes. And I'm like, she's always here. She doesn't need more. I'm looking for it. But like, really?
You mentioned a video game. I picture if you've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, there was an 8-bit style video game that was created to kind of supplement the movie and the books. What if we got something like that? It's a 4-player game. You can have like, you press start to add in the next player. You get 4 of them, and you just go through the Bronx just kicking
Killing
butt.
vampires.
I would be obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, y'all would stop returning my emails because I'd be like, hey, I just got a Twitch. Let's do it. And you're like, no. No, first off, it's 2 a.m. Secondly, no. I'm like, Trent, I think we're blocked.
I would love that. So my hot take has to do more with the fact that this is a really good PG-13 horror, which we don't get very often. We don't get a lot of like horror that I can tell parents, oh, this is good for your kids to watch. Like your kids could watch this and be fine and enjoy it and have fun and be great introductory to horror for younger people or for adults who aren't really into like the super dark scared, like they don't like to be scared. Like, I mean, the four of us do, but like I have friends all the time that are like, I don't really like horror movies, but what should I watch? And, so this is a great like recommendation for anyone like that, I would say.
Totally agree. Yeah. It's not scary in that, like, I mean, maybe for kids, like it'd be horrifying. But yeah, I love just how funny the jokes are, and it's got this. If you guys have watched What We Do in the Shadows, how that's kind of got like, it's got that kind of vibe. Actually, now that I think about it, it's got a lot of that.
Like self-aware,
even the way
comedy.
that the vampire kills one of the guys when they're floating up in the air, it gave me like that scene where they're all floating in the sky.
In the beginning.
Hear me out. What if we do it sort of like What We Do in the Shadows, with Gloria being the person keeping the footage because that's her role? What if we do it that way, but in a different city?
I'm sold.
Yeah,
Gloria just travels around everywhere. But yeah, no, and as when I was watching this, I was like, I mean, I know there's some language, so this is not completely true, but I was like, I could totally have seen like watching this as a kid on like the Disney Channel or like something like that back in the day when they were playing like Hocus Pocus and then Vampires versus the Bronx. I think that,
honestly, this is
true.
Yeah, this is pretty tame. I know what you mean about Disney. I feel like Disney used to have really horrifying stories, like Don't Look Under the Bed, where your forgotten imaginary friend turns into the boogeyman. This
was traumatizing.
This was not that scary. Yeah.
We might have to get to the creepy Disney because, like, I know a lot of people who would do Disney but not do horror. And I'm like, I feel like you do horror and you don't want to talk about it.
Like, there was a Disney movie back in the day that used to terrify me, The Watcher in the Woods. Did we ever watch that? Ooh, that movie was terrifying. As a kid, I watched it as an adult. It's like, it's kind of spooky, but not really scary.
That one was rarely on, right? It would come on really late. Yeah.
It's an older one. It's got like one of those older actresses, and it's like her final performance or something. Who was it though? I can't remember.
None I want to know because I have so many of them.
I'm looking it up right now.
While you Google that, back to your point, like I agree because we've done some PG-13 horror this season that was not great, and a lot has come out on Netflix, which is not great. But like I think that this and probably the Slumber Party Massacre remake or reboot, whatever we're calling it, reimagining, I think, are probably my two favorite PG-13 horrors to come out in the last couple of years so far.
Cool. Yeah, we have to check that out. I've seen a lot of people talking about it lately.
I loved it.
Awesome.
We'll take your word for it. Yeah, I love all your takes. So
I'm
gonna move up to the top of the list instead of at the bottom.
I watched it twice because the first time I watched it drunk, as I always do, and I was like, I'm gonna review it. I should watch it sober.
Sharai, it's Betty Davis's last performance in The Watcher.
Are you serious? We have to do that now.
It's Betty Davis.
We gotta do that. Damn it.
So
put it on the list.
Our list of like 500 movies. So we're like,
exactly.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah. We've got 700 plus right now.
And they keep making more.
It's hard because there's so many movies and they keep putting out new stuff, and it's like, how do I pick and choose?
Like, give us a month break, please. God, we're trying to catch up here.
Right? Like, I think my goal next year is to just pick a random year and do all the horror movies that came out in that year because that feels attainable, as opposed to I'm gonna see some shit. I know that I'm gonna see some shit. I think that is attainable and let me feel a little bit accomplished because you're never gonna see everything that happened. You're just never gonna see it.
No. Yeah, I feel like the world went under lockdown, but I guess Hollywood didn't.
Did not. No.
They were like, we see your challenge. Here's 40 movies.
We're gonna give you 3 Fear Streets. Each
At the
2
same
hours
time.
long.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. But yeah, I want more good PG-13 horror because there's not enough of it.
The kids need it.
The kids do it for the children.
Yes.
It's not about us. It's about the children.
And it still has to be kind of scary. I feel like you go watch. I don't know if you saw they remade Under Wraps, and someone another podcaster was telling me that it's not good because they got rid of a lot of the practical effects, so it's almost cheesy now. And I like to stay away from it now because I'm like, no, it's gonna suck because they're gonna be too nice to kids instead of trying to be scary.
Yeah.
You know, and the old one wasn't even that scary.
It still holds up.
Yeah.
No. I feel like the more we try and coddle the children, the more they reach for the darker stuff, which is why a lot of us are reading Stephen King as tweens. Because we're like, this isn't scary enough. Even though I like the Beetlejuice, I just need something more. And so, yeah, like we can give them a little bit of fright and make them less creepy.
Yeah.
And who
Although you
knows,
could
maybe I'll
tell.
do this horror podcast in a decade.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tell that more people who grew up like in the 80s, 90s with horror movies are making children's TV shows now. I don't know if you saw there's like a research or a uptick in how many horror cartoons there are. Like there's that new show on Disney with the ghost and the girl. There's a cartoon on Cartoon Network where it's like kind of themed around Hispanic kids that talks about Dia de los Muertos and like afterlife, and it's supposed to have like scary themes. And so there's a lot of more TV shows revolving around kind of horror.
That's
But still,
Yeah,
there's a lot more now, and it makes me think that there's just a lot of horror fans making cartoons right now.
yeah,
I'm here for it.
Like in the 90s, we had like the Beetlejuice cartoon, which I don't even know how long that actually ran. We had like All Monsters.
Yeah.
I loved All Real
Oh my
Monsters.
Yeah.
When it went away, I was hurt. I was personally offended, and I've never forgiven Nickelodeon.
Invader Zim was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
That one was so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really like a horror, but it was still spooky.
Yeah.
We'll take it. It's sci-fi.
It was dark. It was like a dark theme, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that was kind of it in our day. That was
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But we
no.
love those for sure.
No, I want to do those now. And I don't know how we'll do like 19 seasons of cartoons that Nickelodeon randomly put on and off.
Oh, and of course, then you had like what was it called?
Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are you afraid of the
Oh,
dark?
yes.
Yeah, and Goosebumps for sure. Yeah.
PSA, Are You Afraid of the Dark? The original is on Netflix now. So people who got Paramount for it, you can let that go. I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say before we forget, we did create a drink for today.
Oh
Yay!
yeah.
We've never been to New York ourselves, but in doing some research, just trying to get something that matched the theme of the movie, we didn't really do the vampire piece of it, but we did do the Bronx. So I didn't know this until reading the article that there is, just like the Manhattan is supposed to be something that originated from New York. This drink is called the Bronx, and it's apparently, from what I read, people don't really like it because it's a kind of acquired taste. It's got orange juice in it, where people don't like that piece of it. They like lemony drinks, and apparently people don't like it because of that. So I don't know if did you taste it yet?
Oh,
I don't know if
let's
you want
try
to
it.
try it. I guess in front
We're
of
discussing
Yeah.
too hard. Sorry.
Here we go. Reactions.
It is not bad.
it's not. What I read is definitely not that. I thought so. It has. Did you look
It
up the
has
ingredients?
dry vermouth and sweet vermouth, which is like an acquired taste. That might be what people don't like about it.
Yeah.
And I don't even taste that in this.
No, so like maybe we're just alcoholics. Don't take our opinion. Don't make your own.
I feel like people have a lot of orange juice slander when it comes to alcohol because people are like, I don't do screwdrivers. I don't do mimosas anymore. And I'm like, why do you hate fun? This is where vitamin C.
I don't do screwdrivers because of one night in college, but mimosas.
That's a fair reason.
Yeah. I'm just like, I love it. That's vitamin C. And like also vodka is made of potatoes. So it's like a stew. I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, the last time I had a screwdriver was back when we had this before this was a camera. and so I had those like old like cameras you had to bring with you. Well, somehow the setting got turned off that like makes the photo still. And so it looked like all the lights were moving around people and people were all blurry. It looks like we partied in hell that night. So I have not had a screwdriver since then. But mimosa, I'll have a mimosa all day, every day.
Yeah, so that was the recommendation I saw, is that if you don't want mimosas, you can drink this. So
Yeah.
Good.
No, I'm gonna look into that because the champagne and the orange juice, that's a lot of sugar for me lately, and so I can only drink a couple as opposed to all day. So I might try this to see how that goes.
yeah, just look up a typical the Bronx recipe. That's all we did.
Yeah.
We were gonna add a vampire effect to it by putting a little bit of grenadine to give that red in there.
Yeah.
So if you want to, you can.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got homework.
For
We
people
don't
who
drink
actually are,
between now and next time we're live.
You got a few hours.
Right.
yeah, I feel like people who actually know how to make cocktails probably look at us like we're crazy because we add grenadine to a lot of things. It's like the only one of the only red things that we could do to make blood in our drinks. So whenever we're like, well, how do we make this bloody? Oh, let's just add grenadine.
I feel like you two are pros and other people are just jealous. You can use grenadine and not make it overpowering, which a lot of people don't think to do. They're just like, grenadine forever. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
We want the color. We want
It's for decoration. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a mixer, people. It's not a mixer.
Those are the same people who work at Starbucks and give you milk instead of coffee. You know, you come out with your
I hate that so much.
your white coffee.
Right? What are you drinking? Almond milk with a hint of espresso.
Which I loved in this movie, that the bodega started selling oat milk and almond milk. When the black people came, I was like,
yeah, we've got kale.
yeah.
Oh, just the hummus? Oh, all right. Yes,
I don't get two kinds of kale.
Yeah, that was so good.
I'm surprised she didn't respond and say that kale gives you thyroid cancer.
Right? It's like we moved on to arugula now.
Yeah.
It's Whole Foods.
I'm gonna go build one, and then I'm gonna go to that whole.
Right?
I loved it.
I was actually sad to see his character die. I thought he was going to help his
very
kids.
sad about it.
Ooh. I mean, it was inevitable, but I was also like, meh.
It hurt me. And that's how you know it's a good movie, when you actually care about the death. Because
Yeah.
everybody else is like, whatever. And it's like, no, not Tony. What?
Not Tony.
Yeah, then they used that mint condition bat. That was upsetting.
Okay.
But you knew it was going to come into play later.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it had too much backstory to not come into play.
They focused on it a lot. You knew it was coming back.
Right?
Just sad for him not to be the one to have used it before at least dying. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It made me sad. I hate that, because normally I'm just like, we need to kill more people. And I'm like, oh no, we killed one too many.
Not that one.
Not that one.
Everybody
All
else.
the other ones.
Yeah.
That's fine, but not that one.
Right? There's so many people that could have been killed. I'll make you a list. You in for Tony.
Yeah. Like the cops. Go do them. Go kill the cops.
They literally did nothing the rest of the movie.
Nothing. They were just like, what'd you say? And it was like, you know your job.
The deaths of the four guys who were trying to get was it Bobby to work with them. I thought their deaths were a little confusing because they worked for Frank and the vampires see them and attack them and kill them, and they never actually do what Frank wanted them to do, which was like wreak havoc in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And these vampires just kill them. So I was like, don't they know that Frank told them that
I
they're
don't think
working
they
for them?
do, because
Yeah, I don't
Frank
think
is
Frank
like their
told them.
human familiar, so they don't know what's going on.
Frank has bad manager skills, and is not communicating or connecting the teams, and so they're just like out here fighting.
When Vivian killed him, I was like, yeah. That's the one time I was like, yes, I love you. She's like, useless again. She didn't even bite him. She just like tore his heart out. Or something.
Yeah.
I would literally love to see that character do more. It's not about her, but she's just so evil and so problematic inherently. I have fun hating her, which is
You do.
She was great. I loved her.
What a choice to have her die getting jousted.
Oh yeah, like that was so unexpected too.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
Yes.
The other thing I thought was funny is that when the vampires disintegrate, the object that is used to kill them also disintegrates with them. And that's interesting because the skateboard was thick and
That
was
was
melting
hilarious.
slowly, and it was gone when she died or when the guy dies. So I was like, that skateboard should have probably stuck around a little bit.
I love that because I'm always like, why did you leave your weapon in the vampire? You're gonna need it again. And it's like, you don't get to say, you have to pack extra weapons. I'm like, okay.
Oh, too good. All right. Well, that's about all the time we have for this afternoon. Thank you, Eric and Vivi, for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you for
having
having us. Yeah, it's awesome as always.
It's always a fun time.
Yeah.
I always leave inspired to drink better.
It's our goal.
Does that make us bad people? I don't know.
No.
Makes you the best people. You're like, with this
doing
bag,
the
you
Lord's
top your
work.
down. Get some cream and some orange juice and 2 vermouths.
Yes, next up, we are watching and covering the original Black Christmas.
The only one, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been some missteps. But that is at 5 p.m. Central. And that's gonna be with our friend Midge Munster because why not?
Yeah, we're getting into the holiday spirit a little early this year.
Holidays are scary. So
The people voted, and here we are.
yeah, they voted for both of these movies, so like it was out of our hands. I'm just happy they voted correctly.
Yes. Again, thank you everyone for listening / watching. Thank you, Eric and Vivi, and make sure that you stay fierce out there.
Evil dies tonight.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.